Good evening. It's the Fanzone. It's Monday night. It's 7:30 and we are back talking actual football, which is so nice to do. Get your views in, get your comments in. And as ever, I can get them on screen. Give you a shout out, just as Josh here, Sports has done. Good evening to you, Josh. Don't forget, if you didn't see it yet, Josh has done us a video. He's done us the players' ratings from Saturday. Gave Yuri Tielemans just a 6. I'm sure we'll be talking to Tom about that, but Yuri Tielemans, a hot topic. Carlos is watching. Hi, Carlos. Get your views and get your comments in. And you, Gray. How are you, Gray? What did you reckon to Watford? We've got a couple of Brighton fans we'll be bringing on very shortly. Matty Bond, good evening to you. Thanks for watching. Do get your comments in and we'll react to them. Let's bring Tom in for a brief chat about Watford, and then we're going to get straight into tomorrow night's action, which is Watford. Tom, are you there, Tom?
Good evening. You're right, Phil.
Tom, I'm good. I'm trying to work out whether I thought in the end Watford's result was all right and keeping positive, or do we need to be a little bit worried? Sum it up for us.
I think if you look at all the results from the weekend, we're still in a strong position in that third spot. The only problem one was Chelsea winning at the weekend, closed the gap to 2 points now, but we've still got that gap over Man U, and I think you've got to look at it. As long as we finish in that Champions League space, it's job done, really, mate. And as much as it was disappointing conceding so quickly after we got into a late goal to win it, it's a good point on the road. It just means tomorrow night for me is a must-win game now.
Yeah, I think you're right there, aren't you? I mean, it was, that Chelsea winning yesterday, when Villa took the lead completely against the run of play yesterday, I was roaring them on a little bit, and sadly they just couldn't hold on. But we've got to do it ourselves, haven't we, against, these teams. Watford is a chance to do it. Brighton tomorrow really should be a chance. Yeah,
like I said, there's no easy games. I think I'm more confident now going into the game than I would have been if Brighton had lost the weekend, because the pressure still would have been on them to get another result. They've got the result now. It pushed them. I think it's 5-6 points away from the bottom 5 now. It's a big result for them for the weekend. They've taken the pressure off themselves. And if we're honest, we've watched most of the weekend games, every team has been rusty playing their first game back after so long. But if you look at the bottom 3, the results were shocking for some of them. I mean, especially for Bournemouth. I mean, at home to Palace, you'd expect them to put a bit of fight up. They got absolutely annihilated at home and live on telly. So I think Brighton have, done themselves a massive favour with a big win against Arsenal.
Let's get straight into tomorrow night's match. Let's bring in, we've got Scott from We Are Brighton. Good evening, Scott.
Good evening. Hello.
How are you? And let's bring in as well, we've got AD from the Albion Roar. And I've got to start off by saying, AD, is that the seaside behind you?
Yes, it is the sea. It's blue and it's wet.
That's not something us Leicester fans have seen much of in the last 3 or 4 months. Obviously, we don't get anywhere near the seaside. Guys, thanks for joining us so much. You both got to be pretty buoyant. Let's start with you, Scott. Buoyant following Saturday's match.
Yeah, I think it was really a must-win game for us, because coming into it, we were 2 wins in 19, which is, it's relegation form. And you look at our remaining fixtures, we've still got you guys to play, obviously very tough. We've got United, we've got Liverpool, we've got City. And you looked at those and thought, where on earth are the points coming from? So beating Arsenal, it sounds mad, because obviously they should be on a different level compared to where we are. But it was a must-win game for us. And as you've already said, it does take the pressure off a little bit now. I mean, we're on 32 points now. If 36 is enough to survive, as a lot of people seem to be saying, it's 1 win and a draw, which is more than achievable. Looks a lot rosier than it did even, Friday night.
AD, do you think AD, Tom's just said it and Scott seems to be agreeing. Do you think it does take the pressure off you a little bit tomorrow night to come to Leicester? You can just ease back a little bit?
No, definitely not. Because, I mean, momentum's a very big thing in football. I know that there's been lots of talk about the integrity of the league, and this has been the longest break that any of the players would have had in their entire career. So basically, they're all starting fresh. Any winning or losing momentum would have gone out the window prior to this round of fixtures. But, we've been very, very close to getting that win. And the last game we played was 0-0 at Wolves, and going into that Arsenal game, even when it was meant to be played, we were quite confident we might actually get a sniff of something, and we did, and we're looking forward to carrying that on. Obviously, it's very, very difficult circumstances. But the crowd at Leicester has always been 12th man there. It's always been very buoyant, very raucous. Without that, it levels the playing field a little bit for us, I think.
Yeah, Tom, I think Ady's got a point there, hasn't he? This is the sort of game where if the King Power was rocking a little bit, it would only help us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think, do you know what, most of the season it's been quite good. The King Power's been points in the season where it's been quite quiet, and I think a lot of Leicester fans have said that it's been really quiet. But the last few games, the win over Villa, I think knowing that we were really pushing on to that Champions League spot, really got everyone going again in the ground. And against Brighton tomorrow, probably would have been the same. And I think Ady's right. I think it really does level it out. And I think if you look at the results over the English League, the Spanish League, there's been more away wins in the leagues than there's been home wins. So that does tell you that the away teams do seem to settle better going to the away grounds and trying to play their game and feel like there's nothing to lose for them at the moment. Look, it's not going to be easy game tomorrow. Brighton are a very, very good footballing team that probably position in the league doesn't suit them. For me, I think they've got some very talented individuals in their team, and I think they're in the transitional period, if I'm honest with you, lads. You've got a new manager who's trying to put a different style of play to Chris Hughton, who was very defensive-minded, if that's a bit right.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and Scott will probably agree with that. I mean, Chris was. But let's start with Chris, because we've still got an awful lot of time for him. The guy's an absolute hero to us. He probably had taken us as far as he possibly could. He did an interview this week where he's actually alluded to that perhaps it was time for him to go. But but it is a massive period of transition. And Graham, he's come in, he's got new ideas. The players have had to take them on board, and that doesn't happen overnight. And it is a massive transition for us. And Scott, I mean, you'll agree with this, mate. I mean, the performances have been largely okay, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, you look at sort of, especially in the first half of the season, we dropped points at home to Southampton. We lost 2-0 because Florian Andoni picked up a brainless red card within half an hour. That's a game we would have won, I think, if we had 11 men on the pitch. We drew with Burnley at home, we drew with West Ham at home, and they were all unlucky results. And if you look at those, if we pick up the 3 points there, we're top 10 at this point in the season. It fell apart a little bit after Christmas, I think. There was a few strange tactical decisions. I don't know why, for the life of me, Potter decided to go to Manchester United, play a high line, aggressive press against Rashford and Martial, because that was just asking for trouble. And I think, in a way, the lockdown break has come at a good time for us, because it's given us a chance to regroup. It's given the players, essentially another pre-season to work with Potter, get used to his ideas, and hopefully that will shine through in the next 8 games.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I was watching the Watford game, and it felt like this wasn't a continuation of the same season. It felt like Scott has just said that. It's like we're starting again. And just because Watford were down near the bottom and Brighton are still down near the bottom, I think, Tom, you just can't look at the league table at the moment in these games, can you?
I think you can in some ways. I think it all depends who you're playing. I'll be honest with you, I've been watched Villa now 4 times this season. They are poor. And that's not just me being me at Leicester hat on not being a light in Villa, but they're a poor team. They've got no strike force, mate. You look at Bournemouth, again, another team where you think they should be all right in this league. Again, it's not worked out for them, and they seem to be going backwards over the last couple of seasons, and anyhow now. You look at those games, we've still got to play, I think, Bournemouth away in the league. And you think we've got to go there and win that game, because watching Palace go there and win quite comfortably on Saturday night, there's games that we should be picking points up against. But like I said before, the Watford game, it was never going to be easy. Nigel Pearson's coming to that football club, and we all know Nigel, what he does. He builds a very strong defensive-minded team, but he also gets his creative players to do their freedom and make them do the easy bit, score goals in some ways. And when you got someone like Dean in that lot, it'll happen. Same with Brighton. They've set themselves up. You lot play some very nice football at times. I watched you against Tottenham, I think you beat. Just before the lockdown, was there a game you beat Tottenham 2-1? You had the young lad on there front.
No, I mean, we beat Tottenham back in October. We beat Arsenal. When was we've done the double over Arsenal now. Let's just put that there.
December, yeah.
But you've had a couple of games where I've watched, and I thought you play some really good football at times. And tomorrow's not going to be any different. You've got 2 teams that are going to play very, very similar kind of plays. And I think if you go to the first game at the Amex, we got lucky. I mean, you had a few good chances in that game. And if you look at our 2 goals, one was a breakaway and, Perez scores. And the second one, we got a penalty, and then we got the retake of the penalty. We only had the comfortable game.
Yeah, that was a little bit suspect. That was quite a lot of suspect. But like Jamie Vardy loves scoring goals against us as well. So I mean, he's got a brilliant record against us. So we're kind of very much aware of that. But also, Neil Maupay tends to score goals in hot streaks. So hopefully he's going to find his form. We've certainly got a chance. We know you guys are challenging for the top, for the Champions League places. We know it's not going to be an easy game for us, but momentum is a weird thing. The lack of crowd is a weird thing, and we've got players that can actually hurt you as well. And on paper, you probably got the better side, and we are very much aware of it. Interesting that you only gave Tielemans a 6 at the weekend, because he's a player that I rate incredibly highly. But teams like Leicester are a beacon to us, teams like Brighton, and we've done. There was a brilliant game. I mean, Scott will remember this at the Withdean a few years ago when we were both in League One, and you scored and and none of the fans celebrated because you couldn't see because there was so much fog, and you didn't realise you scored until the announcer announced the goal over the tannoy.
I remember this game. In the old League One, and it was around Christmas time.
Yeah, and to see the progress that you've made, and actually to go on and win the league, that's a shining beacon for that it can be done, and for I guess we're a similar size club with a similar size fan base, so it's like it's what you've done and what you're currently doing. It shows that it can be done, and that it gives us something to aim for.
I think you're right there, Adi. That's exactly what we feel as Leicester fans. Is like, if we can do it, you can do it. Sheffield United can do it. It opens the gates a little bit. Scott, what I want to ask you is, can you pick out one or two of your Brighton players who you think are in good form? I know we've only had one game, but who should we be looking out for? Might catch us a little surprise tomorrow, Scott.
I think it very much depends on what Potter does team-wise. One of the the biggest things about him is that he changes it every game. There's no set team. He'll look at an opposition, their strengths, their weaknesses, and then pick a side based on that. But I think one player that most Brighton fans are really excited about is Alexis McAllister, who we picked up for $7 million from Argentinos Juniors. He didn't have a work permit. We've managed to get one in January. We then had to pay another £500,000 to Boca Juniors to sign our own player, which is quite a good story to end his loan spell there. He came on, he was only on the pitch for 30 seconds against Arsenal, but he was hugely involved in the goal, threaded for a lovely ball, which Maupay dummied, Connolly flicked it around the corner. And if he starts, I think, he could be a real find for us. I don't like to get too carried away, because I'm sure Adi will agree. We've been here before where Brighton sign a player, everyone goes mad thinking he's going to be incredible, and then it just doesn't work out. So you've got to give players I think 10, 11 games to see what they can do, but at risk of looking like a complete idiot here, I think he could be one who it makes a real difference, and we sell on for a massive profit in a few years.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he's already actually got a full Argentina cap as well is sorry, it's been dazzled by the sun here. It speaks volumes. He's seen as not necessarily the heir apparent to Messi, but he plays that number 10 role very, very well. He's diminutive. I mean, I was at the game on Saturday, and no one could actually quite work out in the press box why he wasn't starting, because he's got such a high pedigree. He's had the pre-season, and for him to only get 30 seconds and actually have the impact on the game, which won us the game, is massive. So yeah, we are very, very excited about him. But yeah, again, as Scott said, we don't know. We do rotate a lot, and sometimes that's possibly hurt us. because teams like I mentioned momentum before, and it's a massive thing, and I think that the players sometimes want to know they've got the shirt. I think, and it's very difficult to come in and out. I mean, we've got a player who I know Scott's had interesting theories on in the past in Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh. Where are you with Ali J right now, Scott?
He's getting better, isn't he? Not that he could get much worse. I mean, we thought
you're coming to
him, and he didn't get a goal or an assist. But I think the telling thing for me was that Potter didn't chuck him in straight away. He gave him another 6 months, so he's had 18 months to adjust to Brighton, to adjust to what we do. And yeah, to be fair, he's popped out of a couple of goals, so hopefully the corner's been turned.
And assist as well.
It's interesting actually. It's interesting because Leicester tried to. I believe Leicester are interested in him.
That's why I brought him up.
Bidding war.
So
really, we've done Leicester a favour by forking out 17 million for him.
Yeah, well, sort of player Leicester will come and buy off you probably, lads, next season.
I think he's got. I still think he's got bags of potential. I think it's just taking time for him to settle. Sometimes when you sign a player, it's very easy to see the transfer tag on their head, and not actually see the human element of coming to a different country, different culture, different players, different food and everything. Sometimes for a player it doesn't necessarily happen overnight, and fans are so quick to judge. And I mean, I've done it. I know you've probably all done it, but it's like, sometimes it does take time for players to bed in, and I think Ali's going to be one of those. And I think he has got potential. I think that getting that monkey off his back with that goal he got against Bournemouth, and then scoring arguably the goal of the season against Chelsea, I think there's a lot more to come from him. And the assist he got for the own goal against Watford was brilliant. He's finding his feet. I mean, he's not a guaranteed starter, but he's someone that I think will at some point we start repaying that massive fee we paid for it.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, bringing it back to some Leicester chat here. Joanna says we've got the first game out of the way. A home win is a must tomorrow, points wise to boost the players, but they have to be aggressive to keep that position. Tom, if Dennis Pratt, which we hear he may well be fit for tomorrow, what's your views on a Dennis Pratt rather than a Youri Tielemans? Because a lot of fans did not rate Youri Tielemans on Saturday again.
Just hasn't happened for him this year. It's a strange one. We signed him signed him in the summer, 40 million. He'd had such a good second half of the season. Was it 8 assists or something, 4 goals, and we all thought we've got a very young, talented Belgium international. And for some reason, he just doesn't. He looks way off the pace than what the player that we signed. Don't wrong. He's had a few good little bits in games, but it's not his consistency was letting him down. Where Dennis Pratt, on the other hand, is coming from 14 million. From the Italian league, and he looks a bargain, if I'm honest with you. He's so consistent. He's 8 out of 10 every week. He breaks the play up. His passing ability is there as well. So if I'm honest with you, I think Brendan's already said it. He doesn't intend to make too many changes for games going forward. I know he said it's with 12 games in 43 days or something silly like that, but he's already said he has no intention to chop and change in that team from the weekend too much. But yeah, Dennis Pratt's fit. He probably does walk in the team on the weekend. And you know what? After his performance, you wouldn't hesitate to see Damari Gray comes in that team over Harvey Barnes, maybe. That's a big one to call. But his performance for the 15, 20 minutes when he came on was very, very good.
AD and Scott, before we let you go, we always like to get a score prediction from the away fans. Let's start with you, Scott, first. Come on, give us a score prediction tomorrow.
If you asked me this on Friday, I would have said easy Leicester win. I think, though, the monkey's off our back now. We've got 3 points on the board. It's not going to be an easy game, but I think the point about the stadium being empty will certainly help us. God, I'm sort of tied here. I'm going to go 1-1, sod it. We'll get a point.
1-1, and over to you, AD. What's your score prediction?
Okay, I mean, I agree with Scott. I mean, I think that I mean, we know that Leicester. We know what your qualities are, and we know that Jamie Vardy will probably score and get that 100th goal, which he's desperate for in the Premier League. But I can see us cause it. I think that the fact we've got that monkey off our back with that win, and I think we wanted with the running we've got. Scott mentioned this earlier. We've got. I mean, when the fixtures came out, we looked at them and said, "Oh, good news, guys! We've got 3 games at home in April." Oh, they're against Man United, Liverpool, and Man City, and we've still got that. We've still got those games to come. So I'm not seeing Leicester as a soft touch in any of that at all. In fact, and you're rightly where you deserve to be in that top 4 at the moment. But I mean, we've got to try. We're still hungry for these points, and we've got a tough run of games coming. And we've been decent away from home, but the results haven't necessarily come. We've left too many points on the pitch. I will put you as favourites, but I'll take a draw.
Brilliant. AD, obviously, you're at the Albion Raw. For any Brighton fans who are watching, can go and follow you there. And Scott, we're at Brighton. We are Brighton. Nearly got it right. Thanks for joining us, chaps.
No problem, anytime.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
We're going to let the Brighton fans go. Cheers to AD and cheers to Scott for joining us. See you soon, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Tom, that's the away fans gone. That's the end of the seaside. It is going to be a slightly different game to what it was probably before Saturday's games, isn't it? There's slightly more optimism from Brighton after a big win against Arsenal. And for us, it felt a little bit stuttery, if I'm honest, Tom. What do you think?
Like I said after the game on Saturday, I thought the first 20 minutes we outplayed Watford. I thought we played some really good stuff at times. Then it seemed Watford came back into it. The second half, I thought Watford probably for the first 15 minutes were the better team. We then grew into the second half, and if I'm honest, the turning point was Tomorrow Gray. He opened the game up and started running at people. All Brighton hits the post. Maddison has a shot saved. You're thinking, just ain't our day today. So we're still looking a little rusty from that, period of being away. You get the goal and you think, well, we've done it. 3 more points, marching on. And like I said Saturday, I'm not disheartened with the way we conceded a goal. It was just one of those. It's a flicker rebound. He's hit someone and gone straight to the centre half. And credit to, he smashed it with a bicycle kick into the top corner. And okay, Casper got his hand to it, but he was very close to trying to stop it. So I did think Tom Casper was a bit blinded by one of their players, but nobody seemed to mention it. The VAR didn't look at it, but he was right in front of Casper. But then he did move out of the way, and it was a bit like I thought
he was offside as well.
I thought he's offside. He's in front of Michael, but if you look at it before the ball's kicked, he's already stepping away and out of the way.
But when you're a keeper, when you've got that blind, and then suddenly, boom, there's a shot. I thought there was a shout there, but I think in the end, Tom, I thought Watford just about probably edged us on the day.
Just want to bring this comment up, Phil, and just find it. There we go. Tillemans, Barnes, and Vardy, non-existent. Do you know what? You're right. They were, Andy. They were non-existent. Vardy, he didn't really have much service charge. He had the one in the first half where he tried to get into the front near post, and I think he went out for a corner. Barnes, it was one of those games. Barnes never really got a chance to run at anyone. And at the moment, there's no excuse for Tillemans. He's just not happening for the lad. And it's strange. And it's sad, really, because we all had this expectation that he'd come in and really run the show in midfield as the crazy player behind Maddison and back Maddison up to help, create some more chances. And it just hasn't happened. What's sad, really.
But Tom, it didn't happen for him, to be honest, at Monaco. He didn't have a good start at Monaco, and then it fell apart there. Could he be one of these players who plays for a move and looks? I mean, he did look better last year. Before we bought him,
looked a different player, Phil. Completely different player. He came in, and even after a couple of games of getting used to the Premier League, he was running rings around some of the best midfielders in the world with his little one touches and movement. He's threw balls for Vardy in his first game away at Watford, I think it was as well, when he scored. These are the games we're thinking we've got some very, very good talented little player. If we can get him permanently, his future's bright. Like you said, it happened at Monaco. He went there on loan. They signed him for silly money, apparently. And within 6 months, the fans are questioning what they'd brought because he wasn't turning up and he'd been shipped out on loan somewhere else. Look, we we have to be careful, if I'm honest, because I've seen too many players come to this football club and get destroyed and gone. If we're honest, there's one player, as I mentioned earlier when they were talking about individuals taking a long time to settle in, I didn't feel this individual needed time. He didn't get the game time, and that was Kramovic. I watched him away at Arsenal. We lost 2-1 in the league the season we were fighting relegation. I thought, what a player, what a touch, what a runs, his movement, he looked class. And he just didn't really get the game time under Ranieri to show that. I think if Pearson had stayed, he probably would have played more games. We let him go, and he went on to bigger and better things at Hoffenheim and playing international football for Croatia. And we all kick ourselves now, but we let players go too early. So I think we've got to be very, very patient with Yuri. He's a young man. He's only 22. And I think there's a lot of potential there, but he's got to now somehow, if it isn't this season, and it takes another pre-season for him to get the fitness levels up, because that's something I've always questioned with him, is his fitness. Same with Maddison as well. They get to about 70, 80 minutes, they've run themselves into the ground. Well, in the Premier League, you don't really want to make a sub because someone's run themselves into the ground that quickly. They should be able to last 90 minutes. These are professional footballers out there now. So you just got to give him time for me. At the end of next season, if it's the same where we're at now, then what do you say? You spent 40 million and it's not worked out again.
I feel for tomorrow night, it's going to be an interesting one, Tom, isn't it? Normally, we'd be sat here, we'd be saying, well, I'll see you tomorrow night down the King Power. And you sort of, you feel like you can have a bit of an influence. An away game, it's a bit different. But at a home game, you feel like, well, we'd be doing a bit of a rallying cry now and saying, come on, fans, get behind the lads, be the 12th man. And you know when you're there yourself, I know that sometimes you shout and you sing a little louder and you just think, right, if I sing louder, the other fans are going to join in a bit more or whatever. Just tomorrow, it's a home match, and it feels a bit helpless, Tom.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think you hit the nail on there. They're helpless. You know that you're not in the ground, you're not being able to. When things are not going so well, just give that little bit of encouragement, trying to get the people behind you, moaning a little bit of the odd player, back them. Stop getting on the backs. Give them a roar, give them a bit of a cheer. Come on, back the lads. Tomorrow night, like I said, I think we've seen it in all the games, Phil. Like, it's very, very strange. And I think Nigel Pearson hit it on the head and said, it was the most strangest game of football he'd ever been involved in because of not having any fans in it. It doesn't suit Nigel. It doesn't suit Watford. It probably doesn't suit Leicester because we're such a family club and being about the team and everyone backing each other. It's not. It is weird. It is strange though that tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, we'll all be sitting in our sheds or in our lounges or in the basement, back garden, wherever we're going to be tomorrow night, cheering the boys on. But no, we're not actually there. And we're all the most strange thing. We are all armchair supporters for the first time ever. There's none of this. Oh, you're only an armchair fan. We are all armchair supporters for the next 8 games, 10 games, depending on the FA Cup run. But we've all got to try and give it as much as we can and back the lads.
And I think, Tom, I've not seen any issues at any grounds, but obviously the plea will be don't any fans go down to the King Power Stadium. They put fences up. They don't want you down there. Don't spoil it, isn't it?
I don't see the point. You're not going to get in. They've already, I think I saw a couple of Villa fans park up across the road with a tent and sat and watched the game when they played Sheffield United last Wednesday. I don't see the point. It's not worth it. What's the risk of, spreading this disease even more than it's already have? That's the reason to doing it, to try and calm everything down. I know we're heading in the right direction. That hopefully, if everyone behaves themselves by October time, we can hopefully be back in the grounds again.
Yeah, before we go, Andy Meadows, I just want to pick him up on this. Andy says, would you rest Vardy? I certainly, and he says, give Perez and Nacho a chance. I think, crikey, he's just had 12 weeks out, Andy. Tom, Jamie Vardy just needs a bit of service every now and then. He had a couple. We did try, it always frustrates me, a couple of quick over-the-top balls, which he sprinted through onto, and then we didn't try it again. Didn't give him much to feed off.
Vardy didn't get much sort of service. And if you did look at it, there was a couple of times Watford got very lucky that the ball skimmed off one of the Watford heads. Otherwise, Vardy was through on goal. So he is looking sharp enough still. He's still making the runs. It's just at the moment, after one game, we haven't really given the service he needs. If I'm honest, the only changes to possibly could make is Pratt tomorrow comes in. And then you could say, do you give Perez a start? He hasn't played yet. I know he's had an injury as well. That's why I think he was on the bench. But he might come in for all Brighton. The only ones that then is, who starts on the left? Is it Harvey Barnes? Is it Damari Gray? It's going to be an interesting lineup. But like I said, by the sound that Brendan Rodgers doesn't want to change many players each game going forward. He wants to keep it a settled team. What we've seen with Brendan, he's not one for chopping and changing.
Tom, I've been chuckling over to myself because Keith Goodall's comment, absolutely nothing to do with football. He says, have we got time for a quick game of pants or no pants? My money is Phil on for no pants. You know what he means, doesn't he? Is, have we got any tunes on? Should we play?
No. We're not getting into this.
Tom's there in his shorts and flip-flops, probably. Is that right, Tom?
Spot on, mate.
And in his flip-flops. I hope you're not there in your Speedos, Tom. If I thought that you were chatting with me while you sat there in your Speedos.
Mankini.
So, Keith, sorry, apparently Tom doesn't want to play, which I'd play, but Tom didn't play it. So I think that tells you everything you need to look like. Matty Bond says, Vardy looked like he did a bit under Puel. You've got to give him something to feed off. You've got to give him something to chase, Tom. It's
one game,
Vardy.
though, mate.
Yeah,
you know. I think if you look at every game I've watched this weekend, I've watched most of them now, every team looks rusty. Look at Liverpool last night.
Yeah.
Their free-flowing game that they've played all season, ripping teams apart. There was nothing of that last night. I know Salah didn't play and they've played Ungog for some strange reason. But I don't know if Salah wasn't fit. But I don't think I've watched any game and gone, wow, they look, come back looking ready to go. Palace may be the only team, but again, Bournemouth was shocking. So I think it's one game in. It's too quick to tell. I know there isn't many games to settle into. That's the only problem now. There isn't many games. You've got to try and pick up
quick
where you
season.
left off. It is a quick mini league.
Tom, we'll be having a different chat post-match tomorrow if we haven't won. Because people will start to jitter a bit then.
Promise you lose tomorrow and Chelsea win, they go above us. And then suddenly you're looking at that pack behind you. I mean, the results at the weekend didn't go too bad, especially with Man U drawing, Sheffield United losing their game in hand. That was a massive win for Newcastle at the weekend, and that's taken the pressure off Sheffield United away from us for a little bit. Wolves winning again. They're suddenly creeping up that league like we knew they can. It's, like I said, it's a very important game for me. We get 3 points. Don't matter how we get it. I don't care. It's a scruffy performance. I didn't think the performance was that bad at the weekend at times, but it's all about tomorrow just getting that 3 points on the board. 3 more points towards the Champions League football, what we all want, and European football. And we all know 4 wins will do it. Simple as that. We get the 4 wins. As quick as we can get those 4 wins and keep the gap there, then we'll be in the Champions League. And it could be a case of you finishing 5th and getting the Champions League, depending on the decision with Man City if they're banned or not.
If we get the win tomorrow, Tom, we'd be 9 points clear of 5th, if my maths is right. No, we'd be more. We would be
12.
11 points.
See, there you go. But again, okay, they've got to play games. The pressure suddenly goes back on Man U and Tottenham and Chelsea. Everyone else has got to win their game in hand, in theory. And at the moment, while we're playing that a game first, we've got to take advantage of them. Really
Got to, Tom. It's going to be interesting. Thanks for joining us again. We'll see you tomorrow after the match. Cheers, Tom. Thanks, everybody who's been watching. Thanks to the Brighton lads, Scott from We Are Brighton and Adi from Albion. We're all sat on the beach there. Very nice. Thanks for all you guys for watching and giving us your comments as ever. Thanks to the sponsors who help us bring a bit of this, help us buy some more tech and do it all for free. And don't forget, go and follow us at Leicester Fan TV and subscribe if you are doing. From me, Phil, we'll see you tomorrow. We've got a pre-match show where we're going to be picking the team. We're going to start that around 4:45. The team news goes live at 5. So join me, Jamie and Chappers at 4:45. Help us pick the team. We got it spot on Saturday. Us fans did between us. See if we can do that again tomorrow. And then obviously we've got half time. We'll go live and we'll go live at full time. From me, Phil, this is Leicester Fan TV. We shall see you tomorrow. Match day.